Hi everyone, this is Brandi again from Artisan Bee Boutique. I just wanted to come on here today and share with you my newest journal. I just finished this one. This one is tall and skinny. I'm not really sure how else to describe it. I just felt like having some fun with altering some coffee dyed paper and just putting together more of a writer's journal than a decorated one. I'd like to say I put, I made this one more writing space friendly, but I did clip in lots of ephemera for you. So you can really just kind of take this one and run with it and do what you want to do with it, make it your own. This one is about 11 inches long, so it's nice and tall, and about 4 inches wide, tall and skinny. What I did was I took some coffee dyed paper and I just had a lot of fun with it. I stamped it and I splattered it with acrylic paint to get these awesome looking paint splatters, and it's got some distress inking around the edges. Very vintagey, kind of grungy looking. That's the back. As you can see, that cool effect that the paint splatter leaves on the paper. This is a belly band. I call it a belly band, but it's more of a tie around belly band. I'm not sure if that's your technical term for it, but I guess it is, because you could tuck stuff under here, so to kind of store in the front of your journal. But it's just a belly band to tie it closed. Underneath is a title or a cover, and looks pretty with or without, so you can choose to use it or not. I use some of my handmade recycled beads, upcycled, I guess you would say. These are made from a used calendar pages. So I just took these and made these cool looking beads, and I like to add these as accents. Twine string. This piece is made from a piece of junk mail envelope that I folded over and covered with coffee dyed paper. And this, you can untie it. It does untie, but you can also just slide it right off, so you really never have to worry about the ties. So this was just made, this is a wood accent here, some vintage book page, coffee dyed paper, again, that I used to cover a piece of envelope with. So you can hear the crinkly sound in there from the envelope. It's flexible. I used some coffee stained reinforcers for the holes, some Tim Holtz washi tapes to decorate, some inking. That's the back. I just left that plain because that's your part that's laying down on your desk or your table. And you could still decorate the inside some more if you wanted to. You could do some more collaging in there. Twine tie closure with the paper beads. Okay. And here is our cover. I love how this came out. I just love the stamping, the combination of the coffee dye, the stamping, the paint splatter, and then this is just kind of decoupaged on. This was just a piece of vintage inspired ephemera. They came with a kit that I got from Amazon, and this is a printable right here that you can personalize. I did a chain stitch binding on this one. I don't know if you can really get a clear look at that. This is what the journal looks like when it's opened up all the way, laying flat. And it does lay flat, so it makes it easier for writing in. Binding is reinforced with washi tape, and I did some distressed masking tape as well. So you'll see some of that here. It kind of gives it an old tape look, like that old paper, the antique papers you find in the antique stores with like the old tape. They were taped together a long time ago, and that tape is yellow. That's the feel that I get, or the idea behind that. Here's what it looks like from the side view. All these pages in here. Okay, so let's take a look on the inside of this beauty. I love how this one came out. I just love the tall, like just the overall size of it. It's just different from my other ones. Tall and thin. Okay, and like I said, I didn't do a bunch of pockets and stuff in this one like I usually do. I wanted this to be a writer's journal, but I did include lots of ephemera. So you can remove it and use it for other things, or you can decorate this one how you'd like with the ephemera that's included. Lots of options here. So on the first page, I'm going to take these out so you can see the inside of the cover, because that is, I had a lot of fun with the inside cover, the inside of this as well. Again, the inside, sorry. I did this with all collaged vintage book pages. You've got vintage TV guide, vintage hymnals, school books. These images here were from a vintage book about Hollywood. Just all kinds of fun stuff in there, and you'll see some stamping, background stamping. This was the masking tape reinforced binding. That works really well for keeping that nice sturdy binding and making sure. And also this was not, I'm sorry, I was thinking that this was, I did another one of these that was a altered file folder. This one, no, this one was the coffee dyed paper. Sorry about that. I've made a couple of covers the past couple days, so I got a little confused with which one was which. This one was just the coffee dyed paper that I collaged. I made a master board with. So I laid out my coffee dyed paper, and I did a master board with the book page on this side, and then the inking, the stamping, inking, and acrylic paint splatter. So what we have for the ephemera for the inside cover, just a little piece of burlap fabric here, and this was one of the Tim Holtz photo strips, vintage photo strips. And this is just a piece of ephemera that came in the kit that I was telling you about on Amazon, that I found on Amazon, just for your note taking. And this was in a large pack of vintage postcards and letters and things that I found at an antique store. Yeah, this one is, let's see, this one is dated July 21st, 1943. And I love that handwriting on there. This is exactly how I received it. So I wanted you to be able to have this piece, whoever receives this journal, and you could take this and, do some reinforcements or repairs. This is exactly the way I received it. You can adhere it to the, inside the journal if you'd like, and make a pocket out of it, or use it in another way. But these pieces can also fit inside of here. I just had them tucked in. I think this was the only one that I had inside, but I don't want to damage the envelope anymore. So then how it came to me. So I just clipped these on the inside cover instead of, making a pocket, because I didn't want to cover up any of the artwork that was in the insides of the covers either. So here we have some tracing paper, and I love doing that as like my first kind of like my cover page. And I used a lovely image underneath this from one of my Victoria magazines, the vintage Victoria magazines. And it's just got like the calligraphy and the feathers for writing and stuff like that. Victoria has some of the most beautiful images. And then this was the other side, also just beautiful images that look lovely in this journal. So we've got writing paper, and then we've got a vintage book page here with some cartoons on it, vintage cartoons. Moon Mullins, I've never heard of that one. That's before my time, I believe. And this was from a vintage school book here. And then we've got some graph paper. I have torn edges on purpose because I like just that torn kind of edgy look throughout my journals. Not every page is torn, but I like that here and there. It gives it more character. This is from a vintage sewing pattern. And I reinforced this, you'll see in the spine area. This is reinforced so that it doesn't tear out easily. You'd have to really purposely rip it to tear it. And I left this flap here so you could also make a tuck spot out of that. And then on some of the plain pages, like I said, I just tucked in some ephemera for you. These were some from an antique store, some vintage postage stamps, real authentic. As you can see from the coloring and And then this was a magazine ephemera that I, backed on some cardstock. And then a vintage guest check. And I'll tell you throughout which pieces are authentic, ephemera authentic, and which I made from something else, or, came in a kit or something like that. On this one, and you'll see I like to use different types of things in my journal. So you'll see like this one is, just a game page, like connect the dots, or I'm not sure what game that is, but hangman, things like that, just for fun. And you can collage on these. On this page I've tucked in, I made a bookmark that you can use for anywhere in this journal, or just for your reading. But this was collaged. I did a vintage book page collage on this as well. And then this is authentic ephemera. They came in a pack of ephemera that I bought and it's in perfect condition. Like these came in, there was a small stack of these, and they are like nobody had ever touched them before. Just perfect condition. And then this is just for your journaling, or you can make a belly band out of that. And here I've just got an ephemera sticker that was part of the kit that I got on Amazon. And then I've got some recipe pages in here. I like to just put an assortment of different fun things in my journals. This is a coffee stained envelope, and just a pull out like card that you can use for pictures. You can put a picture on each side of that, like a 4x4, that Instagram photo size. And this is just a little cluster, or kind of, not cluster, but like collage card that I made. And some more writing paper, coffee stained paper. I coffee dye all my own papers. I love the texture of them. I like mine a little wrinkled, so a lot of times you'll see mine have a little wrinkle to them. This was a coloring book page, and it's a little French bulldog. And then you'll see the other side of the page, it's like a double-sided gold and black. Game sheets, writing papers, vintage book page, removable for you to use how you like. And this is a little Tim Holtz snippet there. You can see the bleed through from the illustration. This was a book of famous quotes. Okay. And then here we have another authentic postal envelope from 1971. It came in that pack, the same pack as the other ones, and again, perfect condition. The envelope is partially open. This is how it's been since I received it. I'm not going to pull that apart. That's up to you if you decide you want to pull that apart and use it for something else. I just like the ephemera. And then I've got a piece of burlap paper here, and this is an ephemera sticker that came with the Amazon kit that you can use anywhere in the journal. I did not stick it anywhere because I like the receiver to be able to personalize the journal and make it their own. Make sure I stay in, getting a little off kilter here. Okay. Coffee stained paper, vintage music. I think this was from a vintage hymnal. I believe these were from the 1930s. I had picked up a bunch of those at a antique shop as well. Lovely floral coloring book page with a nice torn edge here, and that's the inside of that one. That's a marigold, I believe. Yep, marigold. And then some writing paper in the center, and you can see this sturdy hand stitched binding. I do all this by hand with a cream colored embroidery thread, so the stitching looks really pretty. I like how that looks. This so far is my favorite way of binding the books over the single stitch books. I haven't tried this with a single signature, sorry. I have not tried this yet with a multiple signature, and I don't know that I would, but for the single signature journals, I really like this way of binding. And now we're just getting to the other side of the papers you've already seen. Here's another ephemera sticker from the kit. And then this is a vintage magazine talking about job hunting and things like that. And I love that vintage type on this page. And this is from, I don't know if you can see that, 1967. That's the other side. It's from a 1967 Women's Day magazine. So, and then on the other side of that clip, I had a really old postcard that was previously folded. Really old black and white, and I'm not sure what, I think it's German, I'm not positive. I'm not fluent in any other language but English, but I think it might be German, and it says 1945. So this is a nice old postcard for you to add to your ephemera. And then this little Tim Holtz snippet. Writing paper. Other half of Frenchie. Just a page from an old reproduction of a Sears Roebuck catalog from many, many, many years ago. Women's hats, and I think the same thing on the other side is the women's hats as well. And this is just a piece of ephemera that came in a pack that I purchased on Amazon. These are the rest of those recipe cards. These were from the Martha Stewart magazine, and they're actually perforated, so if you wanted to take them out and really use them, you actually could. They have a perforation line. And we're coming to the end or close to the end here. Here we have, these are not vintage. They are just some tickets that I took and, inked up just to give them more of a vintagey, kind of a worn look. And this is Tim Holtz report card. And then this is authentic envelope, airmail envelope, vintage. Came in my vintage envelopes collection. And again, this one has a little bit sealed right there on the edge, so I will not pull that open. That is how it came to me, and that is how it will come to you. You can use that however you like. This was from a children's book, this little image here from a children's book, and I just use that as kind of like a little clipped in tuck spot for you. This is just some scrap coffee dyed paper there, and then just a double-sided piece of like a little scrapbook paper. And then here's the other end of that sewing pattern. Other side of that vintage school book page, and the cartoons. Oh, it's like Little Orphan Annie. Look at that one. And this is the other half of that beautiful magazine page. And I love the image on this. It was just such a perfect addition to this journal. And then the other half of your tracing paper. And I just love the way that looks when it just covers a lovely image underneath it, and you just have that see-through. And then on the back page, again, the back cover, I did not do any pockets. I did not want to cover up the artwork. But here's your back page, all nice and collaged with vintage book page and inked and stamped, and some acrylic paints again. And then I clipped in another note for you, another Ray Dunn note. A little vintage lady here. I thought she looked cool with the kind of like peeking through the frame there, which you can use however you want in the journal. And then this frame was part of a kit from Amazon. Whoops, I just threw it across the room. But it is a sticker, so you can remove the sticker. Don't make the mistake that I did when I got these and I used it for something. What I did was didn't realize this was a sticker, so I glued this into my project, and then the sticker part peeled off. So yeah, I made that mistake. So I figure I'll just tell you ahead of time that that's a sticker, and if you do that, it's gonna come off of your project. So that's the last page. And your back cover, I think I already showed this, but again, you can look closely, you can kind of see that the lovely variations in the coffee dye, between the coffee and the paint and the stamping. And there's the stitching as well. Again, front cover again. And that's really, that's it for this one. It's kind of straight to the point. I love this one. I purposely didn't add frills and lace because I wanted it to be, you know, I didn't want it to just be just for, you know, a lady, or it could be for anybody who's interested in journaling and, you know, just keeping their keepsakes. So I wanted to make it so you can personalize it. So everything that's in here is removable. You can use it in any way you wish. If you don't want it in here, you can use it on a different project, but you've got all this lovely ephemera in here that you can play around with. And again, you don't even have to have this on the cover if you didn't want to, but this I, you know, custom specially made to go with this journal, but it is removable. So if you choose not to use it for that, you don't have to. It's flexible, so you don't have to worry about bending it or, you know, anything like that. And if you end up making this journal super fat, this little cover, this little tie closure can handle it. You don't have to worry about that. When you're all done, you just tie it up real pretty, and it looks lovely laying on your coffee table, mantle, end table, or just keep it, you know, for your own privacy. I love how this one came out. It's just got such a cool look to it, just a cool vintagey, sorry, I'm bumping the camera here, a vintage look and feel to it. And I hope you enjoyed it too. This journal will be, I've already photographed it, and it will be available for sale in my Mercari shop as soon as I get it listed. Probably by the end of the day today, it will be listed for sale. The link to my Mercari shop, if you're on your computer, is in the upper right hand corner. You'll see the link that says Mercari. If you're on your phone, it would be in the description in my channel, like introduction description. Yeah, so if you really like this, I would appreciate if you give it a thumbs up, and consider a subscription to my channel so you can keep seeing my new journals when I've got them ready. Planning to do some tutorials, trying to figure out stuff, quick and easy things that I can do tutorials with, just for fun with you, or craft with me type things. So I'm looking forward to doing all that with you and getting to know some of you better and spending more time with you. And I appreciate the time that you're spending with me just looking through my journals. And again, I just appreciate you all, and I thank you for all the people who have subscribed. And if you're new here, welcome. And I just thank you again for stopping by and taking the time to look at my work. And if you're interested in it, just click that Mercari link and go take a look at that, and the other ones, the other journals and other fun things. I also do jewelry, and I have a lot of jewelry listed, very reasonable prices, just a lot of handmade stuff that I've done over the last couple of years. Actually, I was really into clay for a time, so I have lots of clay earrings and just lots of fun stuff. So if you're interested, just take a peek. And again, I appreciate each and every one of you. I thank you for joining me today, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye now.